Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And from the sounds of it, Sony will be announcing a huge PlayStation 5 timed exclusive at a PlayStation 5 event sometime this month. And no, not the state of play that will be happening later this week, but instead at an entirely separate PlayStation 5 event. So don't go anywhere and we will talk about that. Also, those Nintendo Direct rumors are really ramping up yet again, and this time we have reason to believe that there will be an August Nintendo Direct. Yeah, it's sounding like a very exciting month for games so far, but before we talk about all that, we do have plenty more to talk about, starting off with some new game releases. The hit Metroidvania game Blasphemous from 2019 got a pretty nice looking expansion today, The Stir of Dawn. The cool thing about this expansion is that it is completely free of charge, and it does add quite a bit of new content, including New Game Plus, new bosses, more story-related content, and tweaked some gameplay elements such as animations to make for a better overall game. If you haven't already played Blasphemous, this truly is a fantastic Metroidvania game, and one of the best on the entire market. It plays kind of similar to Dark Souls in how meticulous you have to approach the combat and bosses, but really there has never been a better time to jump into this game, and that is the main reason I wanted to talk about this game in particular. It's a game that deserves much more attention, and that's something I like to do on this channel and help you find good games you otherwise would not have. It is available on Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PC. Now this next one also released today, but it has become quite a surprise hit. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout has released to a huge amount of success, becoming the #1 most viewed game on Twitch with over 340,000 concurrent viewers and over 60,000 concurrent players on Steam. It did also release day one into PlayStation Plus. These numbers very well could change quite a bit by the time I release this video, but it is having a lot of success so far, though the problem is that the developers was not quite prepared for this amount of success. They are having server issues as players flood to this weird and adorable game, but hopefully this will be fixed relatively soon. This isn't completely uncommon with multiplayer games on the day of launch, so I do expect this to be fixed rather soon. Moving on, here is one to be excited about for fighting game fans. Darkstalkers got a new trademark by Capcom. Yeah, the old classic 2D fighting games may have a chance to return, and this is something I have talked about on this channel a few times, but I would absolutely love if Capcom brought this franchise back. Now we do have to remember that a trademark is not necessarily a guarantee for a franchise return, but at the same time, Capcom has said that they want to revive old, dormant IP. This is something they have said in just the last year, so what better game to bring back than Darkstalkers? I mean, sure, Capcom has some other games they could bring back, such as Dino Crisis and Onimusha, but truthfully, I think we need a new fighting game heading into the next generation of consoles. Sure, they can continue Street Fighter V, but Darkstalkers is such an interesting fighting game with so many unique characters. I would actually compare it to Killer Instinct and how creative they can be with the characters in this game, and hopefully Capcom does do something with this trademark. I will ask you though, would you like to see a new Darkstalkers game for next generation consoles? Let me know in the comments below. Also, Xbox had a few announcements today, and one of these is probably one of the most non-news stories I will ever talk about on this channel. Okay, so last weekend, Microsoft revealed their new Xbox Game Pass logo, which essentially replaces the name Xbox with the Xbox logo. Yeah, they mean the exact same thing, it's still Xbox Game Pass. Well, the funny thing here is that there was a very loud portion of the game community claiming that Microsoft was trying to separate Xbox Game Pass from Xbox because they removed the Xbox name. Yeah, this was actually a debate last weekend, and I refrained from talking about it yesterday because it was always very obvious that it was still Xbox Game Pass, just like PlayStation Studios is still PlayStation Studios even though they removed the name in favor of the PlayStation logo. Well, I guess the community was being loud enough that the Xbox Game Pass Twitter account actually responded and clarified that yes, Xbox Game Pass is still Xbox Game Pass. The logo means Xbox. So there you have it, debate over. But with that said, we do have some Xbox Game Pass Ultimate news today because Project XCloud has an official release date. Starting September 15th, if you are subscribed to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you will be able to access all of your Game Pass games through Microsoft's game streaming service, Project XCloud. Now, unfortunately, XCloud will only be available on Android devices starting off, but I do know that they are working with Apple to hopefully get it over to iOS devices as well. Apple is kind of strict with these type of applications, so that's probably the main reason it's not launching just yet. I mean, even Steam Link was removed from Apple devices when it first released because it was linked to a store, so there probably are some hurdles there in terms of what they can and cannot do with xCloud on Apple devices. I'm just speculating on that, but they did launch a very limited xCloud beta for iOS devices earlier this year, so I think it will still happen. Now, I have actually used xCloud quite a bit myself, and it works great, but I would recommend getting a good mobile controller. Technically, you can just use your Xbox One controller or PlayStation 4 controller because Xbox will still support the DualShock 4 even though Sony will not. Still though, there are some other great options out there that Xbox recommends, and I can attest to both the Razer Kishi as well as the Jungle Cat. With that said, Xbox is working on getting games to work with touch controls as well, and Hellblade has officially become the first Xbox game to support touch controls, so they really are trying to knock down every possible barrier for gaming. So mark your calendars for September 15th, and this would be something you can recommend to people you know who does not have a console for gaming. I mean, how cool is that? You have Xbox Game Pass without the need for an Xbox console, and you can just play them right on your phone. That's pretty cool. Moving on, let's talk about PlayStation. And since we are talking about Xbox Game Pass, the PlayStation Now August lineup has been announced, and it's a pretty good month for PlayStation Now. Dead Cells, Hitman 2, and Greedfall will be coming to the PlayStation Now subscription service in August. All three of these games are good games. Some would even say great games. And this right here is the exact reason competition is such a great thing. Because look at PlayStation Now. They have continued to improve this service over time. With Xbox fully committing to Xbox Game Pass, PlayStation has slowly but surely improved PlayStation Now. And I will be very interested to see how much they try to push it next generation alongside the PlayStation 5. We'll have to wait and see, but overall, this is a good month. Now, there are some pretty big PlayStation news and rumors going around right now from some credible sources, so let's talk about these real quick. I know some fans out there are not exactly thrilled about the PlayStation State of Play event happening later in this week, as there will not be any big news there, and that they're mainly focusing on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR games. Yeah, not the most exciting event in the world, as many fans are wanting to know more information about the PlayStation 5. Well, good news here, because Bloomberg has reported that a PlayStation official who shall remain anonymous is claiming that Sony is tentatively planning a PlayStation 5 event sometime this month. Yeah, Sony has not guaranteed this just yet, but it does sound like they have plans to. As to what could be announced there, maybe, just maybe, we finally get that price. Yeah, probably not, but according to a separate insider, Navtra, which very accurately predicted the PlayStation 5 event in June, and games that would be there such as Sackboy: A Big Adventure and Ratchet & Clank, is claiming that there will be a major PlayStation 5 timed exclusive announced soon, Final Fantasy XVI. Yeah, that's right, according to Navtra, Final Fantasy XVI was supposed to be announced at the June event, but it did not happen for some reason, and it apparently has some kind of exclusivity to PlayStation. Navtra says it's full-timed exclusivity and that it's closer to release than people think. Yeah, you all know me, I am not a big fan of timed exclusives no matter who does it, but this really is huge. If there is a franchise that can sell consoles, even if it is a timed exclusive, that would be a mainline Final Fantasy game. I'm personally a big fan of Final Fantasy myself, so I'm super excited to see this game and what's next for this franchise, though I am still not a big fan of timed exclusives. But again, I understand this is a business. Square Enix and Sony does work together quite a bit too, and they just announced Spider-Man exclusivity for the Avengers game. They also are doing a year timed exclusive with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that's been one of the biggest releases for the entire year. And even Project Athia is a timed PlayStation 5 exclusive, so it is believable that they may be working together on another timed exclusive for the Final Fantasy franchise. With that said, nothing is confirmed just yet, so do take this news with a grain of salt. On to our last topic though, there may be a new Nintendo Direct happening this month. Now hopefully it's better than the last Direct, but according to the VentureBeat journalist Jeff Grubb, which truly has been spot on with pretty much everything he has said for the last 3 months. I mean, clearly he has sources that knows what they're talking about because everything he has said comes true. Here though, he is saying that there will be a Nintendo Direct between August 11th and August 22nd, which is very similar to how he did the State of Play event. Now, he isn't saying this is a big Nintendo Direct, and he even calls it a wild card, so it almost sounds like this is not set in stone just yet. Come on though, Nintendo needs to step up their game and just make some new announcements. It's been widely reported that Nintendo is working on a 3D Mario collection for Mario's 35th anniversary, and for whatever reason Nintendo still has not officially announced this, even though we've known about it for months. There are also several rumors going around that there is a new 2D Metroid game in development, a Metroid Prime Trilogy remaster, and a Pikmin 3 remaster, but none of this is confirmed just yet. In fact, we don't know of any game that Nintendo is working on themselves for the rest of the year, which is really odd. I think this would be the perfect time to break the silence and announce some games coming this holiday. Though who knows, maybe this ends up being another small Direct, and I don't think fans will be too happy if that is the case. I will ask you though, if there is a big Direct happening sometime soon, what do you think Nintendo will announce there? Let me hear some of your predictions or even just a wish list. Let me know in the comments below. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you would like to support the channel on Patreon, thank you for helping make this content possible. Peace out.